Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Mike and Matt's Excellent Adventures. I am one half of that, the latter half, and yet I'm the host. I am Matt Waters. I am joined by the former half, the creator, and yet not the host, Mike Thomas. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing well, although now I'm disturbed that the Mike comes before Matt because it's not in alphabetical order. So that literally just bothered me 5 seconds ago for the first time. But I'll recover, and we should soldier on.
Well, when coming up with all of this, I thought it's arrogant for me to put my name first when it was your idea, but here we are. We're stuck with it. It's on iTunes, it's on Stitcher, it's on YouTube, it's on SoundCloud, it's on intotherealworld.com, it's on archive.org. You can find us in all these places. Exactly. There's a Facebook page, people, which you should like, and whatever people do on Facebook that isn't just sharing videos. We have reached a milestone in the series, an oft talked about moment. Is X-Men 3 The Last Stand? Here we go. I mean, it's got a reputation for a reason, wouldn't you say?
After rewatching it, it is pretty definitively one of the worst films I've ever seen.
Wow.
It is. In terms on a pure narrative level, just like constructing a narrative, which is, a goal of a lot of different art forms, but one specifically geared towards film. I'm not saying there aren't worse examples, but this is one that's pretty irredeemable. I'm sure there's some like small things that you will point out as praise, and I'll go like, all right, sure, fine, whatever. On a purely narrative level, on some ways, this actually struck me as worse in terms of storytelling than Batman versus Superman. And because I think that was pretty awful.
Yeah, so do I.
This is a franchise killer level of a movie, and it killed the franchise for good reason. It is an embarrassment to all involved. It is an embarrassment to Fox. It is an embarrassment to Brett Ratner. It's an embarrassment to every single member of the cast, particularly Halle Berry. It is an abomination of a film, of an exercise in storytelling. It is every cliche that you fear about when you talk about summer blockbusters and comic book movies and tentpole films. It is everything everyone complains about. It was a cash grab bullshit exercise. And as a kid, when I first saw it, I was still in high school, and I was such an X-Men fan. I didn't think it was good, but I was like a little in denial about how bad it was. And like, I think I've probably only seen it once since then, and I acknowledged how bad it was. But this time it was just like, holy shit.
Isn't that the worst? Like, as a child, I thought Batman Forever was the shit, and then I'm like, oh god,
me too.
This is awful.
Literally that exact same film. I didn't watch it from probably 10 years old until I was in college, and then just threw it on one day. I'm just like, oh my god, how many times in public have I said this one's not so bad?
Yeah. It's soul crushing. It kills your childhood real bad. I remember this came out and I was hearing oh yeah, it's the best one, and I saw it. I was like, yeah, that's fun. There's lots of good stuff happening. And then they
finally put Beast in it. Yeah, but it is. I can't imagine that you will name something good that I can't explain why it's also terrible.
Okay, challenge accepted. We like playing games, apparently.
Yeah, so that might just be the entire podcast. Okay. Try to name something that is redeemable about this movie, and I'll explain why it's terrible.
Before we do that, so
I think
it was released in 2006.
Yes,
and comic book movies were starting to catch up with the X-Men.
They're on the rise, but there's no clear. It's not like. There's no clear direction for where it's going in. And it feels all very haphazard. And
growing pains.
Yes, lots of growing pains. And basically with X-Men, after X2, X-Men United, a successful film artistically, financially, Fox and Bryan Singer still can't get on the same page. And I'd actually forgotten about this. But did bring back some memories where it wasn't clear that this film was even going to happen at all. Like it wasn't clear there was going to be a third X-Men movie. And they eventually decide they want to do it, but by this point, Bryan Singer has moved on to Superman Returns. And they kind of have to rush it out. And you see that in virtually every single scene.
Yes, you do. Famously, just an enormous hot mess in terms of making this film. All the behind-the-scenes stuff was just an utter disaster. Brett Ratner was hired literally just because he's good at making films on a very, very tight timeline.
Yeah,
and I say good. I mean, he's done it.
Well, what's funny is that, he did make Rush Hour apparently on something like this, and that does feel like a cohesive movie, whether you like it or not, or any issues you have with it. Like, that feels like a movie.
I really like the Rush Hour films, but I feel that's got literally nothing to do with him.
Yeah, that's like Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker being charismatic.
Yes.
Them capturing it on film.
Yes.
But this, I didn't expect this to feel like the Josh Trank Fantastic Four as much as it did. It barely feels like a movie.
Well, you know what it has in common with it?
It sucks.
Simon Kinberg, who he did a little bit of writing on X2, but he and Zach Penn wrote this film together. Simon Kinberg is essentially...
But he's also been...
He's been given the keys.
In First Class.
Yeah.
He's involved in Days of Future Past. But, like... I think pointing the blame at any one person is probably not the way to go.
I don't think he is to blame for this being a bad film, but I think
this reflects the institutional issues with Fox at this point, and not actually getting behind the people who were responsible for making it good.
Yeah, they were adversarial to their filmmakers.
Yeah, and a lot of that's been kind of swept under the rug since, because Bryan Singer's back in the fold. Then he even admits that he feels bad, saying he thinks it's a failure on his part that he didn't complete the original trilogy. But it's like Fox was never fully behind them, so he got a chance to do something else and he took it.
Yeah, Superman is Superman. Like, how many chances do you get? I mean, no matter how many bad films there are, people will still jump to make it.
And oddly enough, that film actually is far more interesting in retrospect to me than, despite I don't find Superman interesting at all, but I actually find that movie an interesting exercise in filmmaking far more so than this.
That's my least hated of all the Superman films.
It would be mine as well. But again,
that film had a reputation at the time of being bad.
As being awful.
And some people said this film was good, and then if you actually look back at it, complete opposite.
Not that we should take Rotten Tomatoes too seriously, but do you know the Rotten Tomatoes scores for this film and Apocalypse?
Are they similar?
Okay, so Apocalypse is at 48%, which means 48% of critics who reviewed it gave it a thumbs down, theoretically. But, I mean, you actually go into the nitty-gritties of, and you actually look through the reviews. This is a pretty sketchy exercise, but still, it's relatively accurate. What would you guess The Last Stand has, then?
Well, IMDb has it a lot higher than I thought it would, but...
Yeah, I like it.
Still, I don't know, 28?
58% of critics gave Last Stand a positive review.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
All right. So, at the time it was made, it was the most expensive film ever made. $210 million. Huge marketing push. Fox is finally into X-Men, which, translation, the first two made money despite them doing very little to help them. So they thought, hey, we'd like some more money, please. So they threw a proper budget at them. And then proceeded to make... You
can't even see it on the screen, though.
Not really. Not really at all. Like, they do some bigger effect shots, but by modern standards, it wouldn't be considered.
There's no way, that the Golden State Bridge shot didn't cost them an extra $80 million. Like, where is the money going?
I think you'll find they costed that at $94 million.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
They had 11 effects studios, like a much larger cast, a much larger crew, but still, this was at the time.
Everyone probably had to get raises because apparently they were all on 2 film contracts, so everyone had to renegotiate, and they had to renegotiate, I'm sure, at the last second. So I'm sure everyone got paid pretty well for this one.
And there's a lot of stuff about cast not being available or only being available for a short amount of time, not all being in the same place at once. They had to do reshoots without Hugh Jackman and Halle Berry and just shot them from a distance with stunt doubles in the costumes and all sorts of just nightmarish stories. But
it's almost like you shouldn't do a $210 million movie at the last second.
No, you really shouldn't. And Matthew Vaughn actually signed on to it and then dropped out because he didn't think he had time to make this film good.
But then, oddly enough, he does make First Class at the last second, and he makes it really good. Like, he was working on First Class until like a week or two before they released it.
Sure, but I think First Class is in some ways a smaller film than this.
It is.
This was meant to be the comic book movie, to end all comic book movies. Most expensive film ever made at the time. Like, that's not a small thing to say. And I mean, it made money. It made a lot of money. It was at the time, for a long time, it was the highest grossing of the X-Men films, I think, until Days of Future Past.
Yeah, and then Deadpool actually exceeded both of them.
Yes, I think it's
at least, yeah. It's. We should just get into it, but
okay. I mean, I'll go over the plot real briefly.
Yeah.
So,
there's really not much to go over.
You'd be surprised how much I can type up in a hurry at the last minute. Like this film, maybe I shouldn't have done this so hurriedly at the last minute. So it draws inspiration from two very famous one extremely famous storyline and one well-received storyline. That would be the Dark Phoenix saga and Joss Whedon's Gifted arc.
Oddly enough, despite not being a comic book reader, I have read the Dark Phoenix saga and I have read the entire Whedon run of X-Men, so I come a little bit more informed than usual.
It's good, right?
The Whedon run is amazing.
Yeah.
But a lot of the stories they do there, only like I would never recommend for a film.
Sure.
And then they do some of them here, and it's just so dumb. But anyway, we'll get into that.
Yeah. So just as a brief aside, for anyone who is wanting to learn more about the comic side of this, because we are staying strictly to the films, I make references every now and then, but if you do want to educate yourself, Jay and Miles Explain the X-Men is a fantastic podcast. They go over the entire history of X-Men starting from issue 1. It's great. It's very informative. Anyway, so X-Men 3, The Last Stand. This rich sleazeball called Warren Worthington II develops a mutant cure, and he offers it publicly, which causes a big rift in the mutant community, obviously, because who likes mutants? Magneto. So he is able to make the Brotherhood much larger in the wake of this huge rift in society that's been created. Meanwhile, Jean Grey is revealed to have survived the event at Alkali Lake from X-Men 2, but she's not really herself anymore, and she's taken on the dark alter ego of the Phoenix, and apparently murders Cyclops, but we don't see it on screen, but she says, I don't want to murder anyone else, so what else do you want to say? Xavier and Magneto sort of fight over Jean a bit, trying to dueling ideologies, and in the argument of it all, she gets quite angry. She murders Xavier by turning him to dust to display how incredibly powerful she has become. And then Magneto sort of takes her in and uses her as the ace up his sleeve to storm Alcatraz Island, which has somehow stopped being a national monument and become private property. It is where they are making the cure, so he attacks. Wolverine and Storm gather up a ragtag makeshift unit of X-Men, mostly consisting of students now, as well as a returning Beast. Well, new to the franchise, returning in the lore. They have a big old fight. Magneto ends up depowered, and then it seems they've saved the day, but then some stupid army men try and shoot Jean, so she goes crazy, starts killing people, starts destroying the island. And then Wolverine, because he is the fated chosen hero, can walk through her destructive powers and grants her the request of killing her after he says, I love you. And then Storm's headmistress, and they take in a whole load of new students, and we get two lovely little teasers at the end with Magneto playing chess in the park, and he manages to make a small metal chess piece wobble, saying that the cure basically hasn't worked, or hasn't worked on him. And then Xavier returns from the dead by transferring his consciousness into the mind of a brain-dead hospital patient. That got
his
more...
twin brother.
Yeah.
His twin brother.
Oh, is that who it's supposed to be?
Brett Ratner explained on the commentary, apparently.
Oh, right, okay. I listened to that commentary. It was incessant.
I will say this about Brett Ratner, though. He's only a sex pest. He's not a child rapist like Bryan Singer. So that's a slight upgrade in humanity for
yeah, we just get
Fox.
Lingering shots on Famke Janssen's cleavage and stuff instead of, So, full disclosure up front, I don't think this film is very good at all. However, I don't think it is as atrocious as its legacy is, and I think it is better than Origins Wolverine. But we'll find that out when I watch it again for the next episode, and if I have to issue an apology next time. But I think its greatest sin is that...
We're not doing the game very well so far, if you're talking about its greatest sin.
I'm just trying to preface this by saying I'm not someone who loves this film. I'm not trying to say, what are you talking about? You're wrong, it's great. I think most of the time it is average at best, and it's never great for more than a few seconds at a time. But there are some good moments in it. Can we start with Beast? Can we start with Kelsey Grammer? I think that's a good casting, and I think he's generally pretty good.
I think it is an excellent casting.
Mm-hmm. Made by Matthew Vaughn before he dropped out.
I can't get enough of endearing stories of Kelsey Grammer talking about how much he loves playing the character, and that it's like his favorite character ever. I'm like, that warms my heart, despite him being a cranky old white Republican.
Yes.
He gets a few moments where he gets to really be Beast, and it's really great, and it's the best portrayal of Beast so far.
Yes. As we will get into.
Yes, he really captures the essence of how I always envisioned Beast to be, either in the comics, in some of the novels I read, the animated TV show especially. That's being the big one. However, there are also moments, and this is not really I blame him for, but there are a number of moments where it's like they need someone to say a line here, and I don't feel like it fits Beast at all. Like Beast advocating to shutting down the school after Xavier dies. Beast poo-pooing this, poo-pooing that. It's like they need a character to be negative so they could force feed Storm into this hero role. And I feel like Beast lost some credibility as a character in those moments for reasons that are completely arbitrary and completely ridiculous to appease the worst actress in this film series. Those moments stuck out to me a whole lot more this time. With that in mind, though, is great casting. In a good X-Men movie, the sky's the limit for what they could have done with Kelsey Grammer as Beast. So, not good characterization, not good storytelling, great casting, and solid performance from someone who didn't have a lot to do.
Speaking of solid performances from people who didn't have a lot to do, the about 4 minutes that Cyclops is in the film, James Marsden continues to nail it.
Yes. He does that despair, that I don't give a fuck anymore attitude. He nails it. He legit's on the move. He's on the screen for, like you said, 4 or 5 minutes tops, though. He's literally forgotten by everyone in the movie. It seems like.
Yeah.
It's not just the studio forgot him. It's like the characters forgot him. He's such a pawn in the larger awful story being told about Jean, Wolverine, and Xavier.
Yeah. I mean, I think we need to address that. I mean...
Yeah. The concept... Well, we can get to the Wolverine part in a second, but I want to get to the Xavier part, because I think this is in some ways... At least the Wolverine part is consistent from the first 2 films, and that it's completely wrong. What they do to Xavier in this movie is a complete and utter disaster. First off, the premise is that Xavier Magneto recruited Jean as a kid, and based on context clues, it sounds like this is one of the very, very first recruits, which again presents some timeline issues, that they recruit her together, and that Jean is already filled with this untapped power that she is having trouble controlling. So we learn that this weakened, afraid of her power Jean is not just her choosing not to explore her power in X-Men 1 and then later choosing to at the end of X-Men 2. Xavier is actually consciously compartmentalizing her brain to prevent the quote-unquote alter ego Dark Phoenix from coming out. And that... First of all, this is one of the most egregious retcons I've ever seen in a modern movie for a modern franchise, where it's just it completely betrays everything we know about Xavier, and then just for an awfully executed storyline on top of that. So basically, when they discover Jean, and the Dark Phoenix is now, a part of her again. She's broken through the barriers, and that Dark Phoenix is unleashed when she starts to get horny, essentially. I mean, it's like something out of like some 1960s like alien invasion bullshit awful movie. and and she is angry at Xavier for doing that. So when either getting horny or getting angry at Xavier, she just decides to kill who's ever around her, essentially.
Yes.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
I will say the act of inhibiting her powers is actually faithful to the character's origin, but not the film version we've seen of him.
No.
And also adding in that Phoenix was always a part of her makes this far more muddy.
Yes. I think what would have been a better, more consistent vision would have been they find Jean and Xavier senses what's going on and makes the choice in this film to try to do that, and it backfires. Because that's like him making a choice now to do something that we know is something he would never do. But like, this just feels dumb. Like it's just dumb. I mean, the whole thing's dumb. But I don't even know why I'm trying to make a dumb storyline slightly less dumb. But like, if you were really committed to this idea, they could have done it in a less stupid way. And they basically, like, Xavier's just like an irrational douchebag the entire time he's on film. Like he's like yelling at Wolverine about this, like, who are you to tell me? Blah, 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 blah. I was like, why? What? And it's just, it doesn't make any sense. It's so dumb. And then that gets to your other point about the whole Wolverine Jean thing. They quadrupled down on this notion that Wolverine loves Jean. And the only thing I can say in its favor is that Jean is really not a character in this movie. So she's not making any decisions. So it's not like an X2 where like they were really just doing her character a disservice. Like she's not a character, so she's not really openly making any choices. It's more just that the narrative is centering it all around Wolverine versus Jean at the end, when that's just stupid and dishonest and lazy, poor decision making. But yeah, that whole thing is a disaster.
Yeah, I mean, it's been escalated so dramatically. He advances from just sort of creepy, watchy, pervy man who tries to kiss other people's girlfriends to he loves her. And not just he loves her, Storm knows he loves her and says, oh, it's because you love her. And it's like, how do you know this? Only him and her know that they kissed. As far as you know, you just, like, what?
So I have this somewhat conspiracy theory. So in the original script that Storm and Wolverine were doing it in this, and by this point, I think in that scene where Storm confronts her, I think they accidentally left that scene in as written, as if they were still, doing it in the movie.
Like if a jealous explanation.
Yeah, like that's how it's portrayed. And I'm just like, this is so tonally weird from everything we've seen in this movie. And then when I read about that, I was like, oh, like that's how it feels like a leftover scene from that version of the script that they never thought to take out.
Yep. And like Wolverine saying to Cyclops, like, he knows how he feels, and like, we need to get over it.
Don't know how he feels.
They live together. Like they shared a room. They've been together for seemingly a very long time.
They were kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you're just the creepy Canadian who
he literally tries to touch her while she's sleeping.
Yeah, he's a creep. Mm-hmm. Like, they spent a lifetime together. He spent 72 hours with her, and they try to make Wolverine the more mature ones. Like, yeah, it's time that we move on.
Yeah, this club we're in together.
I don't know whether it was accidental or not, but at least like Cyclops, like, rationally is just like, fuck off. Like, you don't know what I'm going through. But then the story doesn't actually back him up. It's just like, we must focus on Wolverine.
Yeah. I mean, at least they didn't have her return his "I love you" at the end. Like,
yeah,
she does at least never say she loves him. But my God,
they might as well have.
Yeah, I mean, if you came to this one first, you would think that, like, from day one, the love story was Wolverine and Jean, and like, it's annoyingly hinted at in the first one, and then, as we discussed, it gets out of hand in the second. This is a whole other level.
Yeah.
Like, you could be forgiven for being out of the room or looking away during Cyclops' scenes and not even knowing he's in this film.
Yeah. It's...
Because, I mean, the alleged thing is that because he went with Singer to Superman Returns to go... Was he Jimmy Olsen? I don't remember.
No, he played Perry White's son, who was
okay.
Lois... He gets to play Cyclops again.
Yeah, pretty much.
He gets to play the other guy again.
Yeah.
Although he's given more heroic work to do at the end of this one than he is in the last couple of X-Men movies.
That's true. So I mean, because he chose this project, he didn't have a lot of time, and allegedly wasn't available for many shoots, and B, the studio were adamant they wanted to kill him off. I don't know if this is vindictive punishment against him for choosing another film.
The only thing I'll say in their defense is that they thought they were set on the idea that this would be the last X-Men film with this cast.
But then, even with that, they allegedly changed their minds in the middle of filming and said, actually, can you make it more open-ended?
Well, I also heard another version of that, which is that the script leaked and fans revolted, and they're like, okay, let's walk back all the big decisions we made in this movie.
Yeah, the complaints were like, there's no Cyclops, there's no Mystique, there's no this, that,
so let's
the
make
other.
it... So instead of showing Cyclops dying, we'll make it ambiguous, so they could conceivably get out of that. We know the cure doesn't actually work. We know Xavier's not actually dead somehow. So it's just like they came up with a way to walk back everything.
But I can't imagine being a director of a huge film like this and having decisions like this made over your head and just like, oh, could you change that? Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
They are just sabotaging
but the
their
thing
own
is, like,
project.
These decisions should have been made in the first place, but if you make them, you have to commit to them at the very least.
Exactly.
It's awful.
We are not the people that are writing these huge checks, making these huge decisions, like in charge of the jobs and whatnot. But I can't understand why you would rush this film this much to make this date, like, because it's a big summer film, but it came out at the end of May. Like, it's not. You could have pushed that a month or something.
It came like Memorial Day weekend. I guess like they wanted to commit to that weekend or something. I don't know, but I don't understand the process of rushing out a blockbuster film at all. But then again, they may have made more money off this one than they made off the first two. So who knows?
They did. They made.
But in terms of profit, I don't know if.
True.
And certainly percentage-wise, I doubt they made more. But so I think we had a point to transition, but we'll just do it. We'll force it now anyway. They gave Halle Berry a bigger role to get her to come back. This is
thanks, Catwoman.
This is because she and Singer never got along because he never gave her enough to do, I guess. And I'm trying to it's like, what's that expression, like something to spite your face or whatever.
Oh, bite your nose to spite your face.
Yeah, this is like doubling down on an awful decision to get an awful result. It's like, we're going to do everything in our power to get Halle Berry to come back so she can make the movie even worse.
Yeah.
I think she probably has the second most amount of dialogue in the movie.
Yeah, she
gets so much screen time. She is supposed to be this inspirational leader that keeps the X-Men together. She completely falls flat. Every single line reading is awful.
The worst one I can think of is her and Wolverine are running to Xavier, and she goes, "What happened?" And he goes, "No clue." And it's just like, did you have a second take at this?
I'll keep doing this. I'll keep defending it. I'm saying, like, devil's advocate. They were trying to get over how weird it was that Xavier would have this like psychic freak out that they wanted to make us really uncomfortable. It was just an awful scene, though. It's like they're like sprinting through the mansion, and it's just it's so bad.
Terrible.
Oh, it's so bad.
High school drama, terrible.
Yeah, and she is so fake and phony in every single line reading. It is one of the worst starring performances in a blockbuster film I feel like I've seen from any remotely respectable actor.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get her at all. Like, she won an Oscar improbably, and I've seen her in very little that she's anything but terrible in. She was always the weakest link of this cast, and they expanded her role and they paid for it.
Yeah. But with that in mind, everyone gives a bad performance in this movie, perhaps with the exception of Kelsey Grammer.
Ian McKellen.
Dude,
it's got some of his worst stuff.
He is so hammy at times in this. I'm not just talking about the, I hope, were ironic Nazi rallies he was trying to raise. It's like the like, what have I done when he realizes Phoenix is going nuts. I'm just like, Ian, that is the worst moment in your acting career.
I think that's the worst line he's ever read.
That has to be. It has to be. He's so hammy and over the top. He no longer feels like a character. There's only a few moments that they attempt to make him human, but they ruin it by so many other moments where it's just like, let's turn him into a two-dimensional villain. When he turns his back on Mystique, I know it's about to happen. My blood is boiling. The entire build-up to that moment. Yeah. It is so betrays so much of what we know about the character.
Yep.
And remember what we talked about, like how he didn't just like callously kill people or carelessly casually kill people. Oh yeah.
He crushes like 4 cars with people in them. It's like, whoa.
And there was no thought put in any of those things at all. And like obviously like Magneto, Mystique, they have killed plenty of people in their time, but there's now just like this casualness to what they do. It doesn't feel right at all.
Yeah. I will say, the moment on the bridge where that woman locks her car and he gives like a sort of dry smirk, I really like that. You're
grasping for straws here, man.
Oh yeah, I told you, this is literally seconds of good stuff at a time I'm trying to throw at you here, but... so you mentioned Mystique. Do you want to get into that? I think she's awesome in the moments they give her, but again, she's not in it for long. I mean, it's more of what she was doing in X-Men 2, so she's not breaking new ground, but I do continue to like this character that plays with people that is...
Yeah, I think, like, I feel like the Magneto that we saw in the first 2 movies and the Mystique of those movies, they wouldn't be like, don't have my slave name. She's like, okay, calm down.
That's such a heavy-handed...
It's such like, let's
hey guys, metaphors, right?
Yeah. Let's calm down here.
But I do like her like jumping out of the handcuffs and like, you know, pissing people off, and like she's hanging there as the little girl saying she's gonna kill that dude while she's still a little girl.
Yeah.
And like that's all good, but you know.
What'd you think of her killing that guard?
Fine. She said she would. He was taunting her, I don't know. I feel she's far more casual about killing people than Magneto is.
Yes.
Like that's the thing. She doesn't necessarily have higher goals in the same way. She's like on a completely different wavelength, and she just happens to sort of correspond with his side of things a little more. She's just along for the ride. You get the sense at any moment she could say, nah, fuck you, and just go a different way.
Yeah, I think this movie was an opportunity for really to expand on who she was as a person, and didn't happen because they rushed it out.
Again, she's another one. I think it's her. It's Marsden and one other I can't remember, but they couldn't get them for long enough.
Yeah, so they steal her power away in one of the worst moments in the franchise's history.
Yeah,
and Magneto just walks away from her, and I just felt like this isn't. Yeah, fuck you, Brett Ratner.
And their new president they have, perhaps the worst actor in the whole film, when he says that hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Like,
my God. I thought I would actually go blind from my eyes rolling so hard when that, like, I thought they would just roll backwards. Like,
you should probably try when you're casting a president not to make it the worst actor possible, but they really do. And Brett Ratner's telling you how this guy's an amazing stage actor in the commentary. I'm like, where is the evidence of that? This dude is terrible.
And this transitions us a little bit to the new supporting villains, because boy, we have lots of them, and they pretty much all suck. But before we get
there's one
of the new villains, played by Dania Ramirez, I believe. I can't remember what her character's name is.
Callisto.
Yes, Callista.
In a dramatically altered version of Callisto.
I don't know enough about it, but so she introduces
She's in the cartoon.
Okay. The good one?
Yeah. You know the underground mutants that live in the sewers?
I don't remember that in Wolverine and the X-Men.
Oh, man.
Banter.
Yes. You said banter in an unironic fashion. Sorry, carry on.
She introduces the idea of the mutant rating system.
Yes, and somehow Pyro and Magneto are the same level.
So this is she explains that all mutants have this natural rating system, and that she one of her powers is sensing mutant power. And this comes off as really dumb and stupid.
Yeah. But
it only is purely awful when Xavier says it out of nowhere. Jean Grey is the only Class 5 mutant I've ever... I was just like, oh,
where has this
God. What?
Yeah.
And it's was this ever in the comics?
They refer to, Omega-level mutants, but that's a little bit more ambiguous than this. It's not a strict classification.
Okay, so I was in my head, is this some weird comic thing where they thought, ooh, let's throw the comic book fans a bone here? They've been waiting for the class system all this time.
Yeah. I remember being a kid and getting these promotional... They were cards with pictures of the different members of the cast on, and it said what their class rating was, and I don't remember them offhand, but I still remember being angry when I looked at them. What is this?
It's like turning them all into Pokemon or something. It's so dumb. It's just it kind of just perfectly encapsulates why this movie was bad. It's just you just take something that was not previously established in the universe and are trying to act like it actually means anything or holds any weight, and it just feels the people at home are too dumb to understand that some mutants are more powerful than the others. So we'll give them this little cheat sheet.
Yeah, I mean Magneto can literally lift buildings and bridges, but that's hard to quantify.
It's hard to process for some people. The only other. So then also Ken Lung,
yes,
really good actor,
yes,
really good actor,
yes,
great on Lost, played a great henchman villain in Rush Hour,
one of my favorite characters in Lost, and
absolutely
he's great in Rush Hour,
yeah,
even in Star Wars.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot to do, but in Rush Hour, I'll never he's one of the most memorable villains as a kid for me. I feel he conveyed so much emotion,
you're bleeding,
so much physicality. This is a talented actor. They turned him into a porcupine man in this film. His power is that he turns into a porcupine, and he's literally only lethal if he's hugging somebody. I felt nothing but sympathy for him throughout this entire movie. I'm just oh, you are way too good for this stupid role in this awful movie.
Yeah. Brett Ratner's singing his praises in the commentary. Oh, he delivers all his lines so matter-of-factly. It's because all of the lines in this film are matter-of-fact.
Yes. They literally none of them need to be said.
There's no soul to any of it.
Yeah. I'm kind of tempted to watch now with the Brett Ratner commentary just to...
Oh, God. It's frustrating just hearing these three people. There's two modes. They're either making really bad, dad jokes constantly, or they're just singing the praises of things that are happening on the screen as if they're better than... It makes me depressed that these three men are as successful as they are in Hollywood when they look at these things and go yeah, that's a really great shot. And oh man, this guy's so... they say that Ben Foster, who plays Angel, is a great casting because he's got such emotional range. It's this is one of the worst actors I've seen in a big film.
Which is too bad because he is a good actor. But
yeah, I know he is, but just in this, he's not. The kid is better than him in this film.
Yeah. The other, I guess, two notable additions are Multiple Man pops up for actually what I think they actually use a little bit cleverly at the end.
Yes.
I thought that was probably one of the few moments in the movie I was
also quite pointless because what does that help? They were going there, Magneto wasn't there, he was storming Alcatraz. How has that actually helped anyone? And he's now just given himself up when he could have been quite helpful at the end there.
Probably.
Anyway, 2 lines.
If you accept the premise of how dumb this movie is, it was clever.
Sure,
if you
funny.
Think about
it's a good moment.
Vinnie Jones is the Juggernaut.
No, he's not. Vinnie Jones is terrible. He is an embarrassment to the United Kingdom.
The United Kingdom is an embarrassment to the United Kingdom. You take a fairly iconic villain.
Yeah.
And you turn him into a punchline, so
yep.
you know,
Brett Ratner was shown a YouTube video of it's this. I didn't even know this was a thing, but it's.
Oh really? Okay, yeah.
I've seen it since, but like I had not heard of it when this happened. But it's a
same.
YouTube video of some dudes like basically funny talking over the X-Men cartoon, and one of them says, "I'm the Juggernaut, bitch," and he was so unbelievably amused by this that he decided to put it into the film with no shred of irony, and it's just like, what are you doing?
It's so bad. And they take what is supposed to be like this super intimidating character, just his ability is that he once he gets momentum, he can't be stopped.
No material can stop him.
That is literally his mutant ability. So when he loses his mutant ability for a few moments, this giant boulder of a man runs into a wall and nothing happens, but he knocks himself out.
Yep. He's also got the worst costume, I think, in the whole franchise. That helmet is awful.
The helmet's pretty awful.
Yeah.
Helmet's pretty awful. I guess this can lead us to some other new castings or updates on some other characters. Kitty Pryde is played by her third actress.
Yes.
This time by an actual actress, and not just what was a glorified extra. Ellen Page, quality actress.
Yep.
Not really given anything to do. I actually watched this. I'm like, you actually might have been given more to do in Days of Future Past than you were here.
That's true. Inexplicably.
I never would have guessed that. And like, besides Hugh Jackman, probably the only original cast member who that was true for. And I think fittingly, she was given more to do than Halle Berry in Days of Future Past. So that's always good.
Yeah.
She plays Kitty Pryde, and basically her character is, I can't touch boys, unlike Rogue, so Bobby Drake is interested in me.
Mm-hmm.
She also likes to ice skate.
Yep.
And
that goes pretty well for her, because what can Bobby Drake do? He can turn the pond into a makeshift skate rink.
Yeah, and Bobby Drake likes to touch women.
Yes.
And he can't touch Rogue. So, plot, characters.
Yeah. Now, in the deleted scenes, when they're having a little ice skating moment, she actually kisses him and he goes for it, but they did take that out because they wanted people to root for Bobby and Rogue, and to not dislike Kitty Pryde, but just the whole thing is
because like the whole point is that like men are these incapable of being good people, and they just they're not at fault. They're just not at fault. Much like Wolverine, they're just not at fault.
Yeah, it's the homewrecker's fault, not the man that went for it.
So that's too bad for her. Bobby Drake's still a candy ass.
Yeah, I don't. Just for 1 second, I don't think Kitty Pryde is. I don't think Ellen Page rather is bad in this. She's fine. She's Ellen Page.
I don't think she's actively bad. I don't think she does much of what she. I don't like. I think Kelsey Grammer makes the most of it. I don't think she makes much of it.
Fair. I think she got out of this alive. It was her first major budget film, and she still has a career. So
yeah. Anna Paquin, pretty awful as Rogue.
Relegated massively.
Yeah, I think she was the third one that they did not have for a ton of time in the movie.
Yeah. So her whole story is, it goes all the way back to the first one where I think it's a deleted scene, but she says can I be cured? And now there is a cure, and as someone with quite an inconvenient power, she wants the cure, and she gets the cure. And that's her whole story.
I think based on how they construct the story, it makes sense and it's believable. I don't think the story should have been constructed that way, though. So, like, if you accept the premise of the awful story they're telling, it makes sense. But why would you put a character like that in that position? It's dumb.
Yeah. They literally just wanted someone on the quote-unquote good guys to be an advocate for the cure.
Yeah.
And they thought, hey, she can't touch boys. That's the end of life as we know it. So
yes.
She could just wear gloves, but nah, fuck it.
No. What was it? And then like Storm makes her feel bad for it, even though within the confines of the story it makes perfect sense. But again, that's why you're constructing the story to make her feel like it's awful. It's all awful. Speaking of returning cast members, Aaron Stanford, once promising young actor,
where is
has
he
never
now?
been heard. Have you heard from him since this movie?
I looked it up. Isn't he? He's in the 12 Monkeys TV show that I've never seen.
Okay.
I think he's the star.
After having a great little mini arc in X2, is literally just a mindless henchman in this movie.
He's more blonde.
He is more blonde. He is much like I will say this, much like how Toad, Sabretooth, and Mystique were so efficient, he's now far more efficient with using his powers for Magneto's aims. So kudos for them.
Yep, literally just there to provide an opposite to Iceman so they can fight.
Yeah. And, but he's really not given much to do. And he seems now so ridiculously converted to Magneto to the point where even Magneto's like,
evil now. He's not a troubled kid who was, shown a different way. Yeah. He's just an evil kid. To the point Magneto scolds him for being glad about Xavier being dead.
Basically being like, calm the fuck down. We're not that evil, dude. But yeah.
We're like chaotic neutral. Come on. Colossus is back. Yeah. This time he holds now I've got to say
he holds a TV.
Funniest moment in the film.
Did you watch the Cinema Sins for this one?
No, I wanted to, but I thought you'd give me basically the equivalent. So
yeah, so he has a really good line. It's like, what can we do to show Colossus' power in this tiny moment? He can be carrying a giant TV.
Yeah.
Why is he carrying a giant TV?
Because he's strong, man.
Supposedly there's last scenes on the cutting room floor with him talking, but he only talks once in this movie.
Yeah. Well, when you cast a guy because he's large,
that's what happens.
I think his survival throughout these films, like being asked back for Days of Future Past and being asked for Deadpool and turning it down, is possibly the most improbable thing in all of it. Yeah,
even like Shawn Ashmore is like he was acting long before X-Men. Like he was like in that Animorphs TV show, etc. yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Pull that one out.
Good call.
This whole movie is so bad.
Yeah.
Are there other things you want to attempt to claim are not awful?
I think Child Angel literally cutting his wings off is it's a nice sort of
powerful
extreme
image. Yeah, a powerful image.
Because we've been shown a little bit more of the mutant issue, quote unquote, in the general public as we've gone on. And this is another new side to it, where this kid is literally mutilating himself because of his powers, and his father then being so horrified by what he is that he is the one that invents the cure. I will then say, counterpoint to myself, there's really no point in either of them being in this film. You could have just taken out his father's character, had a generic scientist invent the cure, and Angel then wouldn't have to fly in and save him, and that's literally all he does in the film.
Yeah, it felt like they're like, let's put Angel in this movie, so this is how they did it.
Yeah, this is the thing, I'm all for, it's nice seeing all these characters in the background and stuff, but, I want to see all these characters I like realized, but if you don't have anything for them, don't do it. They kept not putting Gambit in the film because they didn't think there was enough of a role for him. Why didn't they do that here? They literally just shoved Angel in just to be like, there's Angel. And Gambit did almost debut again in this movie. And he was going to have a love storyline with Rogue to counteract the one with Kitty and Iceman. It was going to be, hey, on the other side, here's this Cajun dude flirting with Anna Paquin who's a lot younger than she's meant to be, so this becomes a little bit creepy at some point. But yeah, he again didn't make it into the film.
For the best.
Josh Holloway was offered it, and that would have been a good casting.
He's the only person I've ever considered for Gambit in my head. I'm sure Channing Tatum will do fine, but I've always thought Josh Holloway was the guy for it.
Yeah, that's a good casting.
All right.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I'm supposed to be on the offensive here, aren't I? Or the defensive. How do we say this?
Where are your list of things that are not awful?
Okay. While the whole Wolverine Jean thing is bad generally, I do think it's kind of badass that he says "I love you" and then kills her, just as a general concept in a film. But that says more about me than anything. Why do the Greys have a water dispenser in their house?
And where are they?
Yeah,
where are the neighbors?
Why is there a water dispenser in their home? A full-on office, gather around it and talk about Seinfeld style.
No, that's an American thing.
Are you serious? People have those in their homes?
Yeah, I had that in my home until I was 14.
Oh my god, educate me about America.
Yes.
Wow. Why?
No, it's great.
It comes out of a tap.
Oh, because we don't take care of our water.
Oh, okay. Government's trying to poison you. Gotcha.
Yeah, we used to have great fresh water flow into our houses everywhere, but we didn't want that. We wanted bottled water, apparently.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That army voiceover about the plastic weapons is really, really bad. Because us dum-dums couldn't look at the plastic weapons and go, they're using plastic because of Magneto. They had to be like, pick up your plastic weapons, no metal. It's like, what the hell? They got Ollie Emery for that.
And think also, like, how much more powerful it would have been if Magneto finds out at the same time we do.
Yep.
Like, why scream that? Why scream that out? Like, why not make us wonder?
Because you just make Magneto look kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Because he can, in theory, sense and smell metal. Oh, there you go. Him throwing Wolverine away like a toy again. I do always enjoy when Wolverine is stupid and tries to confront Magneto.
It's great.
Yeah.
I think that's, like, an excellent flaw on Wolverine's part that they should absolutely take advantage of. Just be like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, because, I mean, Magneto was established before Wolverine in the comics. He was already a thing. It's not like they were like, well, this Wolverine guy is overpowered. How do we neutralize him? It just happened this way, and it's worked out brilliantly.
You're struggling.
Yeah, Magneto could have killed Wolverine instantly at the end. You know, they all line up, and it's like, well, why don't you just get rid of Wolverine, like, right now? No? Okay, you're going to let this
once
happen.
again, and Colossus.
Yep. Yeah.
So once again, you are doing a great job of finding out some other small things that are terrible.
I don't think this film is good. I'm just saying there are moments, and I'm struggling to find some right this second. But through the power of editing, this will sound like a much more cohesive argument. Famke Janssen isn't terrible. I mean, she doesn't have a lot to do.
She doesn't give it anything to do.
Visually, she looks cool, and she's just standing there being a scary lady.
Really, do you like the zombie thing?
No, I guess I don't.
Yeah.
I like when she makes Xavier turn into dust. That was like, whoa, cool. When I was 13.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb, though.
Yeah, I might be out. I think, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I will say the first sort of 45 minutes of it are just and then the end is like everything after she kills Xavier is like really, really, really bad. The first 45 minutes is like meh to bad. It's not inoffensive. I think
there's so many painful line readings that it's hard for me to care. It's like every single scene.
Okay. Okay, I will concede.
I think, for instance, like Hugh Jackman's terrible in this movie.
Yeah, he's not great, is he?
He is from his first scene. He's terrible.
Well,
it's like he doesn't understand the character when he doesn't have a good writer behind him.
Yeah,
like you would think that someone who's been playing that character for so long would be able to play it well in spite of bad writing.
Well, he certainly,
or like maybe like make adjustments or something, but like he's pretty awful in this.
He certainly talks the talk when it comes to lobbying for future Wolverine projects. Like he's always, when he wanted the first Wolverine film,
it's gonna be great.
Yeah, and then when he was
we're
making
finally
the
gonna do the
one,
Weapon X story.
Yeah, and then he was talking about,
I really want to
Japan.
take Wolverine to Japan. He's got to go to Japan. I love Japan. We're going to do Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a good, like, I think the fact that he still thinks that the second Wolverine movie was good is troubling. So.
Yes, this is true. I think part of this is their own, it's part of what you get for giving, okay, so at some point, they looked at Wolverine, they looked at Cyclops, they said, Wolverine's cooler, let's give people more Wolverine, let's make him the hero. This is what you get when you take Cyclops away. When Wolverine is just this generic protagonist who is now, he's a teacher and he's the noble hero, he's way more boring than when he's this sort of X-Factor in amongst the team that is organised.
But...
and I think that this shift to Wolverine, I think the evidence is here. I know this film is bad for reasons beyond that, but I think the choice to go with Wolverine, you already start to see the consequences of that, and it will continue and continue and continue. Like, Cyclops was going either way, I guess, but just, I can't help but separate those two things. They killed off Cyclops, and they said, here's Wolverine in all his glory, and I just think that's such a mistake.
But, like, his whole arc in this movie is, like, he has to learn to stop being selfish, which is a little bit of a retread, but okay. That's, like, consistent.
I feel he already learned it a bit.
He has to, like, give up trying to save Jean and start acting as a team or something like that. Like, Storm's like, Jean's gone. Yeah. We have to refocus. And
So in the danger room at the beginning, they're doing a simulation to teach the kids how to kill a sentinel, and he goes, fuck this, and says, Colossus, throw me at the sentinel, I'll kill it. And then that's meant to teach them something. And then at the end, they do kind of the exact same thing, but he learned to work with the rest of the team. So that's about as much
teamwork
as he goes through. Yeah.
Teamwork.
Yeah, teamwork.
Also, the... I mean, I guess they're trying to build it up as significant, but like it felt like the scene with Storm, Beast, and Wolverine looking at the cure on the ground.
It's so drawn out.
It went like it went on forever.
Oh my god, that is a good idea. I know, right? Yeah, man, we should do this.
Like it felt like some like unintentional like Family Guy joke where they just stretch it out for like 5 minutes when it's no longer fun. Like, not that it was funny in the first place, but they just hope if they keep doing it, eventually it'll be funny again.
Yeah.
And it is. Also, the look on Ian McKellen's face when he gets stabbed with the thing, I'm just like, oh, dude, what are you doing in this movie? So I keep meaning to look up the interview clip, but I swear I saw an interview clip with McKellen, I think like on Conan or something, where while making X2, he was convinced it was a bad movie to the point where he didn't like go to the premiere or see it or anything. And then when he randomly rented it one day, and then it was like, oh, that was good, and then immediately asked if they were making a third one or something like that.
Aww.
And then this happens.
I mean, I can see why that would happen with films like this, where a lot of it comes together in post, and there's two sides of it. Like,
oh yeah, totally.
He's not always on the screen with the people, and like if you look at the first two, like he's doing lines with, and the first one in particular, like he had to do lines with Tyler Mane and like and Ray Park, and it's just like, I mean, this is Ian McKellen, guys. You couldn't bring him some real actors, but
as you probably can tell, this is just an unpleasant film. It's not even particularly fun to talk about because it's just like, it's so demoralizing. It's so...
Yeah.
There's nothing to debate, really. It's awful in virtually every way.
Like, Brett Ratner is such a, like, paint by numbers, here's everything.
Yeah.
It's either very literal or just clumsy.
There's no soul to it. There's no emotion to it.
Yeah. That's the thing. That was the thing we were praising the most about X-Men 1. What I had forgotten about it, and in retrospect, look back at it and think, wow, what a film. All these
there's
lovely,
so many powerful moments. Yeah.
All these moments that string it together, and there's none of that here. It's just all, you want action? We'll give you action. You want more money? We'll give you more money. You want
more characters?
Less time than we need? Yeah. Tough.
It's the shortest of the first three movies,
really?
I believe.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I guess it's like 90 minutes, just over.
It's embarrassment to all involved, and it sets the X-Men franchise on a path where you genuinely worry if, like, is this how we'll remember it?
Well, I mean, look at what we're left with. Okay, so Xavier's gone, but he's not gone. Magneto's depowered, but he's not depowered. Mystique's depowered. Cyclops is dead, or is he?
But Mystique's not depowered either because the cure doesn't work.
Or did it just not work on Magneto because he's stronger and has been doing it longer? Who knows? Who even knows? The school has taken on more students. Jean is dead. Beast is back in the fold, I guess.
But now he's in the UN, so it's not like he's returned to the school. He only returned to the school for 20 minutes.
Yeah, true. And it doesn't really set anything up in the same way.
Well, and that's
all its setups are reversals of what it did.
Yeah, I mean the idea was like, let's end the franchise on a big epic note, and they failed in every conceivable way.
Yeah, I mean the first one ends with Wolverine's on the team, and bigger, better things, I guess. 2 ends with, here's a tease of the most famous X-Men story there is, the Dark Phoenix, and this one ends with, maybe the stuff that happened in this movie didn't happen. Also, some of the characters are dead, or maybe they're not. It just really took the legs out from under it. So
it fails both as a film. It fails as a conclusion to a trilogy. Like, for instance, I think Return of the Jedi is not that very good of a movie, but it concludes the trilogy very effectively.
Yes, it wraps a bow on it.
Yes,
good triumphs. Everyone dances.
And everything. All the major things that happen that feel earned and deserved, and it's fun to go on the ride one last time. This fails as a movie. It fails as the end of a trilogy. It fails to effectively set up anything intriguing. If it was trying to. I don't know if it was trying to.
I mean, what they were looking to do here is say, right, that's the end of these films. Now here's some side stories, here's some origins, here's some spin-offs, you know.
And I don't even know if that was a bad idea. I think that actually might have been a good idea, but...
I mean, around this time, there was... I mean, we'll get into this. We're going to do a whole podcast on, like, potential films or cancelled ones. But, you know, Origins Wolverine was in development at the time. And... Oh, we didn't mention it. At the very beginning, when... Magneto and Xavier are going to recruit Jean Grey, they very famously spent a lot of money digitally making Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen look a lot younger. And at the time, this was like an awesome effect. Like, and even now, it doesn't look. You can tell, you know, there's you can tell
it's a computer generated effect, but it doesn't look.
It's awful. Not as hokey as you would think. And there was all this hope that they would use this effect to do a Magneto film with Ian McKellen.
Thank God they didn't.
Yeah. But that became First Class, which we will talk about. But
But this fails on every way, and
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
This is what happens when you let one person have a vision for something, and then that vision is completed by not only someone else, but really just like a hack and a hack following orders, essentially.
Literally just brought in to meet a deadline. He admits he had no knowledge of the X-Men, and he put all of his trust in Zach Penn and Simon Kinberg to know about the comics. But, I mean, Bryan Singer said he wasn't a huge X-Men expert, but he at least did his research, and he used that to motivate him when directing. Like, he knew the characters.
He made the usual suspects. Brett Ratner made Rush Hour.
Yeah. And I like Rush Hour, again, but, you know.
But that's not the point. Like,
Brett Ratner went on to make movie 43. There you go.
This was a huge fuck you, honestly, to end the franchise. And, I don't know, there's nothing really left to say.
This is Fox, man. This is, like, they finally got on board, and they fucked it all up.
Like, if they just, like... I mean, I can't, like, I guess I just don't know enough about the world to know exactly why, but, like, just delay this until 2008 and, like, be like, you know what, Bryan Singer, we've fucked up all this time. You're going to have the time and the money you need to end the story right.
Or even Matthew Vaughn, or like literally anyone else.
Yeah.
Like, give it some time to breathe. Don't smash two stories together. Either do Dark Phoenix or do Gifted. Gifted probably doesn't have enough in it to be a full film.
And I think the problem with Gifted is that I think it works like in the accepted parameters of comic books in the sense that you need like cool, unique stories that you eventually can ignore later on. I don't think that's really worth doing with a movie franchise.
Yeah. There's all these extra...
it forces you to commit to some choices that you shouldn't have to commit to.
Yeah.
Or it forces you to ignore choices that you pretended to commit to. So I don't think the Cure storyline really works.
No. And there's all these extra characters and they don't add anything. Like, that first film, it's Wolverine, Cyclops, Storm, Jean Grey.
Yeah.
Against Magneto, Sabretooth, Toad, and Mystique.
And most of those characters aren't really characters.
Yeah, exactly. And it works. I get that this is what happens. You add more characters in sequels, but make them do things.
But like, that's what X2 did. It made them worthwhile additions, and this one just felt like, I don't know. Yeah. It's bad. It's bleak. This is a dark time for fans of X-Men who like to watch them in movies. And it's about to get possibly even bleaker. Yes.
In my head, X-Men Origins Wolverine is worse than this film. I haven't seen it in a long time. We will see if I eat those words.
I haven't seen it since the theaters. In my head, going into rewatching The Last Stand, I was like, okay, Last Stand's going to annoy me more, but Wolverine's going to be worse. I can't imagine Wolverine is worse.
Well, we'll see. So you can look forward to that in episode 4. We will be back. And until then, you can find us in the various places on the SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Enter the Real World, And if you want to get in contact with us in any way, you can do so on those forums or on Twitter. I am Matt C. Waters. Mike is
MC Thomas 216.
Repping the 216, not his birthday at all. So in closing, Brett Ratner's a pervert, but he didn't molest children.
Bye, everyone.